today we celebrated the 29th annual Church Point Buggy Festival. This has been going on for 29 years, so this weekend is our annual event, and it's always the first full weekend of June.
How did all this get started?
When we first started, it started as just a fundraiser for our local hospital, because most local hospitals were going down and closing doors. But we didn't want that to happen because we wanted to keep this hospital in this community. So we called a meeting, community meeting, and many people were interested, and the hospital administrator came through and he said we need to have events to even help pay some of the things that are late being paid so we can keep the doors open. So we decided to do that, and we started this festival. It was such a success that we have just continued it. Even though the hospital has been very prosperous, we have continued it because of the culture, because we want this to be good for our community and let people know where Church Point is and what Church Point means to the culture of our area.
Prior to 1945, they had very few automobiles around the Church Point area, and that was the only means of transportation. C'était en buggy. So that's the reason for the love of buggy, and I had Lloyd Latiolet from here. That's probably the most notable fellow about horses, along with the buggies around. I think it's 10 or 12 buggies / carriages that he's got, and has been doing weddings for years, and it's through him that I got started with this, and I just enjoy working with the horses. Of course, it's a lot of work.
Tell me about your earliest memories of riding in a buggy.
Well, back, a matter of fact, where the cemetery stands today was the old Catholic church here, and you had maybe 1 or 2 cars back then. The rest of the parking lot was buggies, and the horse was tied on the buggy ahead of them, and we came to church in the buggy, and that was the only means of transportation we had back then. And I think it was till back around 1950 before that it had an automobile that I can remember. It was strictly horse and buggy or a horseback.
What kind of maintenance do you have to do on your buggy to keep it operational?
Well, it's like anything else. You have to grease the bearings in it. Back then, the early days, the buggies had bushings, not bearings. Now you have a greaser on them, just like you have on the automobiles. So it's relatively easy, but you have to keep them clean, keep them armor-alled, and there's always something to do with a buggy.
Why is it important that the heritage be preserved?
Well, people use the heritage, and our heritage is certainly not the language that we're speaking today. It was in French. You sat around church here and not hear 2 people speaking English. It was totally in French. And, the heritage is of the French heritage here in South Louisiana.
But when I was 12 years old, I still rode in a buggy. We had buggies downtown in 1953. Was the last year we saw buggies, because that's when monies came in for blacktopping the roads. We had gravel roads and dirt roads before then. In 1953, we had a senator elected to represent us in Baton Rouge who got the monies to do our streets. So we no longer used buggies. People started buying vehicles.
Tell me, what do you have here?
This is a replica of a 1905 Rio, which was the second company that Mr. Olds formed. And we drive it specifically in parades, not on the highway. And it's powered by a 20-horse Briggs & Stratton engine with a hydrostat lawnmower transmission. And it'll get about 8-10 miles an hour max. And it's just for parades.
Now this is a buggy without a horse.
Exactly, one of the first horseless carriages.
What's the history of this vehicle?
The history is, like I said before, it was built by the Olds company. Actually, Mr. Olds started a second company called Rio with his initials of his name, Ramsey Eli Olds, which was his second company. He was forced out of the first company by the stockholders, were quickly recovered with new stockholders, and they were able to form the new Rio company. And this was a hot seller in the day.
Tell me a little bit about your experience with buggies.
Well, when I came up, that's all they had was buggies and horses. That's the only way you got around, or in a wagon. So I guess I was 15 years old when I rode the last buggy.
What do you remember the most about riding in a buggy?
Well, we enjoyed it because we didn't know no better. And that's all the way we had to go where we wanted to go.
My family history, we were 16 kids in the family. And my mother and I and my sister would go to Rain. We live in Doosan, a farm. We'd go to Rain and buy some groceries, and we'd stop and tie our horses at Mervyn Kind, and we'd shop all day. And then we'd go to another store. She had a big bucket of eggs, a basket of eggs, and she'd buy her clothes, her threads. And when she had some money coming back to her, some change, they give her a token with 5 cents on it, 10 cents, and that's what she used next time we go back to Rain.
What was it like going back and forth in the buggy?
It was great. It was great. And that's why I've been going to the Amish country. That's the way we live. We didn't have electricity, no running water. And when I go there, I feel like I'm at home.
Tell me about the buggy that you've got here.
Well, this buggy is a Surrey, and that comes from the Amish people. It's handmade buggy, a Surrey. And I got that about 5-6 years ago.
What do you enjoy the most about riding it?
I enjoy the scenery, and it's relaxing, and it's, you just don't worry about nothing, just keep your horse going.
Tell us how the festival has grown over the years.
Well, when we first started, we were downtown, very small. And after 3 years, it got so large that we started getting vendors and different people. So the mayor decided to buy this piece of property, and we started having a festival here. And through the years, as we, grew and we were able to help the town raise money. All of this was built through most of the festival proceeds, and because of the Buggy Festival. So we could keep this as a tradition, and we finally were awarded Buggy Capital of Louisiana. So it was a wonderful tradition for Churchport to get this title.
I've been playing music since about 8 years old, I guess. I'm 31, so quite a few years.
Tell us about the musical heritage in your family.
My dad is an accordion player. He played all his life. My grandfather played music, and just in the blood,
What do you like the most about playing Cajun music?
It's just the people, the crowds, the getting into it, playing, having a good time, just real fun,
Cajun French music is definitely in our hearts. I know there are different types of music, different types of people come here, so we have to have a variety. But Cajun French music is what we're going to have today. What we're going to see today are traditional Cajun French bands. We were honoring a father and 2 sons who can play any instrument in a Cajun band. The father plays and the 2 sons play.
It's a huge part of, our culture, and it's real important, that the young ones get involved and keep it going,
Well, this accordion extravaganza, it's putting together at least 10 professional accordion players together, and all playing accordion, taking each a verse, doing 2 verses. We'll make the whole round of all of the accordion players till everybody's played 2 verses, and we do 2 songs. It's just to show the people that accordion players can work together, just like country music people or any other music can do.
That's one of the highlights of the festival. A lot of people come out to watch the extravaganza. Most of us all know each other up there, and we all trying to outdo each other, you know, and we make a good show. We make a really good show.
I came to enjoy the music, first of all, and to support the local culture and everything. I'm from Mamou, so I grew up listening to Cajun music, and I try to do everything I can to support the culture.
That's the main attraction of the festival, is the Cajun music, the culture. Church Point, full of musicians, that's what it's known for. That's where I learned how to play the accordion, is from Church Point musicians.
Because it's a heritage, and if you believe in your ancestors, and you believe how hard it was for them to survive when they came here from France and Nova Scotia, they brought this tremendous, beautiful music, and we don't want to let it die. It has to go on.